welcome to the Middle School AD Podcast. I am your host, Thomas Frederickson, and today we sit down with Dylan Hoch, an athletic director from Denver Christian School in Lakewood, Colorado. Join us as we discuss the relationship between club and school sports, managing your workload, strategies to balance work and personal life, the relationship between middle school and high school coaches, and the overall integrity of the athletic program. I hope you're able to grow and get better today in our discussion, but before we dive in, here's a word from our sponsors.
This episode is sponsored by Gipper, the preferred sports graphics platform for ADs. Start creating professional-looking sports graphics today by starting a free trial. Middle School AD podcast listeners get 10% off any plan when you use code MSAD10 at Gipper.com. As an athletic administrator, you understand better than most how much support matters. Support for your coaches, support for your athletes, and support for your department are crucial to providing the best possible experience for every student. Snap Mobile is now your one-stop for all the tools you need to support your department. With our expanded suite of products, you can now raise money, open team stores, schedule and manage your facilities, and communicate with your athletes, parents, and stakeholders with the same level of care you've come to expect from Snap. Visit snapraise.com today to schedule a demo with your local Snap Mobile representative.
This is Game Time. Neptune Game Time creates a high-energy game day atmosphere that your players and fans will love. Every song in our database is 100% lyric safe, which means you can stop screening music for good. Game Time also provides custom messaging to help you promote your upcoming events, concessions, and event-specific announcements. And it gives you the opportunity to sell sponsorships on your station that will generate revenue for your athletic department. Amp up your game day with Game Time.
Before we get in this episode, I would like to personally apologize for the sound quality of my microphone on this episode. We're still working out some kinks with this new setup, but my voice is a little distorted. But again, we'll have it fixed for next episode, and hope you enjoyed this one. Welcome to the second episode of the Middle School AD Podcast. Today we are speaking with Dylan Hoch. Dylan is the athletic director at Denver Christian School in Lakewood, Colorado, and has been an athletic director for 7 years. Dylan, again, thank you for coming on with us today, and hopefully we can get some things out of it and help others grow. But before we get started, tell us a little more about yourself and your journey in athletic administration.
Yeah, thanks for having me. So, started as an athletic director up in Anchorage, Alaska, about 7 years ago. Was a pretty unique experience where my old high school came calling when I was in grad school doing my master's down here in Colorado, and they called me up and said, "Hey, we got this transition plan for you. The current AD, who was my AD when I was in high school, he's moving into the principal position, and so we're going to have this opening, and we want you to apply for it and come back up to Anchorage." And so I was not interested at all. I wanted to be a college basketball coach. That's where my heart was at. That's what I wanted to do. So went up, talked to him a little bit, just was, had my heart set on that there was no chance I was moving back up to Alaska and going to start as an AD. So after that, went back down to Colorado, met with my college coach and just kind of told him everything that was going on, telling him what was happening. And he was like, you'd be a fool to turn down this job. And so made me think twice about it a little bit. And then about a week and a half later, accepted the job, and then moved up to Anchorage in August of 2016 and started my career as an athletic director.
Good deal. And you said there you did high school and middle school? You were both?
Yep, high school and middle school at a K through 12, and then Denver Christian is the same.
Good deal. So along the way, I think you kind of mentioned it, but kind of who has been your biggest mentor and why?
Yeah, so most of the things I've learned as an athletic director came from his name's Jason Hofker. He was the principal at ACS my first 4 years there, And it was a huge blessing. Again, I started as an AD at 25, which is fairly young for that sort of position. And he really kind of took me under his wing and was almost like an athletic director in training year one, before, he kind of, let me fly on my own sort of thing. So he's been really big. Tom Kobaugh, he was the chief administrator at ACS for my first 4 years there as well. And then now my principal and head of school at Denver Christian, Steve Kortenhoven and Matt Kobe, they're just fantastic supporters of almost everything that I try and implement, all the ideas I have when I don't think they're any good. They tell me to run with them, and are always there for my support. So I've been really lucky to have so many really knowledgeable people to kind of get me started in 7 years.
Yeah, we talked a little about that the first episode about the relationship between the AD and the principal, and it's crucial. I was asked one time what is the relationship between an AD and a principal, and I was like, well, I'm his right hand man or her right hand man. If the admin is on the left side or the right side, and I'm on the other side, I said to me we're all in this together. And we need to make sure that we're side by side, and my beliefs and his beliefs or her beliefs need to mesh, because if it doesn't, then we can have some issues. But if it does, the school and the community is one of those is hold on, because it's fixing to take off. And I think we're going to go through that a little later with some of the things that you've done. But we'll hit it hard from the beginning. Kind of in your opinion, what is the biggest challenge for middle school athletics?
Yeah, so in the Denver area specifically, it's super competitive. We got some big time high schools in Jefferson County and Douglas County just surrounding us. Private schools, public schools, charter schools that are just trying to get their hands on our kids to go there their freshman years. So that's a big challenge for our kids is they're feeling a lot of pulls in a lot of different directions. Even inside of that, there's a lot of stuff with AAU ball, and just sort of the wear and tear and all the demands that the school is trying to place on kids for middle school athletics, and then they're getting pulled in different places with AAU, rec, and so the burden on these kids is I don't think it's ever been bigger. And then to add on top of that, the last few years with COVID, and these kids are really have been put through the ringer. I think the eighth graders this year, this is their first normal middle school year, right? And so they're still trying to figure out what that all looks like and all those things. So every day is a challenge, every single day. And we're just trying to figure it out with them and try and come up with the solutions. But those are a couple of the big things that we're kind of noticing in the Denver market.
Well, that's the funny thing about this profession is we're going through the same thing in South Carolina. And I think in any state of people that are listening, it's the same. So kind of, do you have any kind of way or discussion with your students and with your coaches to kind of help the marriage between AAU and school sports? Because like I said, it's very heavy in middle school. And then once you get into high school, it's still there. But is there a solution to it?
Yeah. So, it's a little unusual. My AAU stuff is not very big in Alaska. So in Alaska, there's really not that much of a pull. So, I'm fairly inexperienced with this as well, but we've certainly talked about, trying to build communication with these AAU coaches, trying to build bridges. Even our, we're looking at head of strength and conditioning and some of the candidates that we've been interviewing and stuff, they're talking about when I get students who have been training at these private facilities here and there, like I call them up. I try and see what they're doing so that we can, work together and not overwork these kids, because, some of them are going to the gym or training, for 10 plus hours a week. And so again, some of that wear and tear that we're looking at. So we've been talking about trying to find solutions to build that bridge with AAU coaches. We're still working on it. We definitely haven't figured out the whole thing yet, but really I think it's just going to be conversation, opening up that line of communication, and just figuring out, how can we, hey, we got practices and games at these times. We really want our kids to be here, right? This is their school. This is their community. These are their friends. At the same time, what you do is important. That's why you do it. And so how can we get kids to be in two places, hopefully not at the same time?
Yeah, being a soccer guy, I always use the analogy that their club sports, their AAU sports is the club team. In professional, that'd be your Man U, your Chelsea, whatever. But the school is the national team. I mean, that's when you come play with your community, the people you grew up with, the people that or live in your area, and have the pride in that. And like I said, so the club and the national teams, make it work. And so I understand that's a different, way different beast up there. But I think sometimes you put it in that perspective, like, well, you have to take pride in your school as well. We understand that AAU and club is important in different aspects, but how can we get y'all here and supporting your school, supporting your community, and making sure that we are together in this?
I like that a lot. I'm gonna have to steal that and use it at some point.
Yeah, well, like I said, it works on the soccer realm because a lot of people understand it. Because basketball and obviously football and things like that. The only time they get together for basketball is for the Olympics. Most of the time. So, but yeah, I mean I've used that, and sometimes it works. The kids understand it, the parents understand it. Other times it doesn't. They're one way or the other. So like I said, I think it's still a thing about how we're going to fix this. I don't know if there is a fix. I know there's a bunch of other people that are doing different things. But like you said, it's got to be a marriage. One or the other can't shun the other out, because then you're hurting the kid. And we're all here supposed to be for the kid. So if we can make it work, then let's try to make it work. So as an athletic administrator, sometimes it feels like we're drowning and can never catch up. Do you have strategies to balance your workload?
Yeah, so that's been a big focus this year. We've gotten more support at Denver Christian this year. We hired a new assistant athletic director this year. We got our part-time admin assistant back this year, which has been a huge help. So delegating is really important. Being able to delegate, manage some of those projects from a distance is really big. We've been able to kind of line up our middle school and high school schedule. We try and go about 10 days in advance, and assign responsibilities, who's going to be at what game, at what time, what night, and being able to plan that out a little bit early. So I got a wife and a 2-year-old right now at home, and so it's really important for me to try and be home. And so being able to plan that out really has been helping with in that sort of area. So delegating is really important. I know a lot of people don't have the luxury of an assistant AD and admin assistant. So in those cases, it's really just trying to just be as organized as you can. Put everything on your calendar, whether that's Google Calendar or on paper, Outlook, whatever. Just being as organized as you can, and then trying to have protected times. Maybe it's once a week, maybe it's once every other week, where whether it's going out with friends, date night, hanging out with your kids. But, so say random day, Wednesday nights from 7 to 10, right? Turn my phone off. Like there is nothing more important than this set aside time. And I think in the past I've kind of fallen into the trap where it's like, well, I can't turn my phone off. Someone will always need me. It's like, no, like you can turn your phone off and the world will survive and everything will move on. And part of that is just communication. Just you got to tell your coaches, tell your admin, tell opponents, whoever that, hey, this time for me is we don't go into this time. I'm already given 50 plus hours or whatever that looks like a week, and so this slot here, that's my time, and no one else is touching that. So still learning. I've had really really bad work boundaries because again, when I started, I was 25. I was single. I was in Alaska. I didn't really have any friends there. And so, I was coaching 4 sports. I was full-time AD. I was teaching, 3 to 4 classes a day. And so, if anyone needed me at any time, I was doing it. I was there. I was available. And, I got married 3 years in. And it rocked my world, right? Where it was, hey, you cannot keep doing that. This is not healthy for you. And so, slowly started trying to pull back. And so I'm still learning today, what it looks like to have better work boundaries, be a better husband, be a better father, have more personal time, relax, so that we don't burn out, right? Because I think the average AD lifespan is 3 years or something like that, right? It's pretty short. And so, we're tasked with a lot. We got big burdens that we carry, but we got to have time for ourselves and our families. Otherwise we won't survive.
Yeah. I like what you said about the, one day or a week or every other week. I've done that as well. In the past, I've always it's funny you said Wednesday. Wednesday was my day. 'Cause usually everything was going on all the other days. And my coaches just knew, my admin knew, hey, I'll be at school during the school hours, but after school, I'm going home. This is time to spend with my family. Now, if it was a big playoff game or a big tournament, then obviously, I would be there because things come up. But if it was just a normal day, with practices and some games going on, especially away games, or even if it's home games, like you said, trying to find coverage, because if you don't have that family time, it can be a burden, and it can be hard. But like my wife is done a lot of the PA announcing and a lot of the music for me, at different events, whether it be, some has been football, some is basketball, soccer, whatever. Because some of the things she said is, well, if I don't come up here and help you, I may never see you. Right. And so, can we do that now? You said you have a 2-year-old, I have a 1.5-year-old. It's hard once we got kids, because, she's having to deal with them and, put them to bed, where before she was with me every night. And, but so with that, with the children, again, it's easier if you don't have younger children. If you've got older children, they can come with you as well. But you kind of spoke on it a little bit, but what is your plan to balance that work and personal life, to make sure that, the wife is happy?
Yeah. So, it's just, I mean, like I said, we're trying to find, one day a week, sort of things. We try and find different events to go through. So I think this month we're going to the Temptations musical that's in downtown Denver. We're going to take a 2-night mountain getaway on a Saturday night, Sunday night. I'm going to take Monday off. A lot of those things they just make a big difference. If I know I'm going to have a late night, I'm going to be at the school till 9 or 10 o'clock for, volleyball or football. I'm not going to come in until, 10 or 11 and try and have a little bit slower of a morning, drink some coffee at home, spend some time with them. just different things like that. So it's not perfect, but just trying to find those times here and there where I can be home a little bit in the morning, which is nice, right? Because we don't get those too many times either. Or again, I can come home earlier because I've found coverage and I've been able to delegate some games and assignments to those around me.
Yeah, I don't know about where you are, but especially in South Carolina, I would say if it's not 100%, it's 99.9% of middle school ADs are still teachers. So they may not have that luxury in the morning, where at high school, most of the time you could have that luxury again if you have a good relationship with the principal and they understand what you do. I've had many of parking lot picnics. So the wife swings by Chick-fil-A, brings me brings some sandwich, and we just sit there and eat while the event's going on. So, like you said, trying to find time, but you definitely have to have a spouse, a partner, a family that is involved or understands that this lifestyle is sometimes it's not a 40-hour week, sometimes it could be an 80-hour week.
Yeah, and I liked your idea about having her come to work and work with you. I had my wife work a basketball tournament with me one year, and it backfired. It did not go well. We don't, in the stressfulness of boys and girls 8-team basketball tournament ran over 3 days. It didn't work well for us. So it's a great idea for a lot of people. Not all couples, not all ADs can work with their spouses. So
yeah, well, that's why I put her on the mic. That way, she had her own job, and she was announcing the game, and that's what she was doing. If other things were happening, then I was taking care of that. But that way, we really didn't see each other, but we were in the same environment, if you want to say. But yeah, we always try to make it work. And again, you gotta have that time, because if not, it can be. I think that's why a lot of ADs only stay in 3 or 4 years, because they see the demand. They see the family sees the demand, and it's just not for them, which is fine. But I think that's one of the big challenges that goes into that short AD lifespan, if you want to say. So as the athletic director there at Denver Christian, what have you done at your school and community that you're most proud of?
Well, it's been a short time. That's pretty tough. We actually yesterday we just had a big golf outing fundraiser for the athletic department. So this has been something that we've been doing for a few years. Obviously, COVID kind of interrupted that. Last year, I came in. It was in mid-October. And came in, didn't really know what was going on, really didn't have much to do with the running and any parts of the event, really just kind of showed up and had a good time. But we fundraised about $4,000 to $5,000 in that event last year. This year was able to put together a great committee, kind of run it through the booster club as well. And had, I think, 6 people on the committee with me, kicked around a lot of ideas, made it, upped it from a 9-hole to an 18-hole event, moved the location to, one of the nicest golf courses in the Denver area. And, haven't got the final figures yet, but we think that we doubled our goal of 15,000. We think we got pretty close to about 30. And then we were able to, and then that's about a six-time increase from what we made last year. So, super happy with that, super proud of all the hard work that we've done there. Other things have just been, year one is super observational. If you come in from another place, you might have some ideas here and there, but you kind of got to lay off for a little while and just sort of observe and see if some of these, ideas that you have will work. And so, some of the things that we've looked at were sort of our marketing and branding, Our scheduling was a little inconsistent. I think a couple of years ago, one of our basketball teams, their first like 13 games of their season were all on the road, right? So looking at some of those things and trying to even the score. So we've been able to schedule, home tournaments or home round robins for pretty much every sport that we can. So, can't do a home tournament for football, but we got cross country and track meet, volleyball tournament, basketball tournaments, baseball round robin, girls soccer tournament, boys soccer tournament. And so that's an increase in our home games, which is increasing our gate, increasing our concessions. So increasing our income. We're trying to be one of the schools that is in the black in our athletic department, which is super tough to do. You don't run into too many programs around the country that are able to do that. And so, we're tasked with that goal, and this is something that will help with that along the way as well. So, I think this year, I was just looking at it yesterday or 2 days ago now, and with what we just did in our tournament, our golf tournament, I think we'll be pretty close to, maybe less than $10,000 in the red in our athletic budget this year. So really, really proud of that as well. It's been a lot of hard work, spreadsheets and organizing and all of that. Formulas in Excel are not easy, but feel like a nerd when I'm going through those, but really enjoy it. So those are a couple things. Probably our budget and just some of the new ideas and some of the scheduling and a lot of the observational things that I get to kind of implement throughout the year. I've been really excited about.
Well, good deal. Well, I have to put a plug in for the national LTI course, 511, which is the budgeting course, and pretty much, I've taught it here in South Carolina, and it's pretty much all spreadsheets. So if you're somebody that needs some help with some spreadsheets and formulas, then LTC 511 is one that you need to make sure you get a hold of at some point. I know you mentioned kind of in our pre interview questionnaire about adding some middle school sports and kind of working with the high school to do that. So kind of go through that experience on working with them, but adding some more opportunities for the kids at the middle school level.
Yeah, so we're fairly unique in our school in that we're K through 12. And, a lot of our competitors, a lot of the other schools in our league or in our classification, they don't sort of have that built-in advantage. So, again, this is one of the things that we were looking at observing in year one is how can we make the most of this, opportunity, and that, we can get kids in our building for 13 plus years. So, how can we help them? How can we build a pipeline athletically from middle school to high school? So, some of the things we didn't have middle school programs for all of our high school sports. I think that's really important. So, this year we started middle school flag football. So, I don't necessarily think that middle school is a good time for kids to be hitting each other with, all the concussions and injuries that can come along with football. So we're just going to keep them safe, get them active, get them moving. Started middle school football this year. We don't have a middle school cheer program, so we're in the middle of working on that, trying to get that plugged in. We haven't had a middle school baseball program, so we're getting that kicked off this spring, which we're really excited about. And then even just some other sports here and there, we're a little inconsistent with what we would allow. So our middle school is 6 through 8, but for middle school golf, we wouldn't allow 6th graders to play. And so either with tee sheets or because the kind of the scheduling group that we're in doesn't have 6th graders, and I just said, hey, if it's middle school sports, it should be all of middle school. So even if they're not included in this, league and these competitions, we can still get kids out on the course. We can still do, 9-hole tournaments, scrimmages, sort of more in-house stuff with them, but let's get clubs in their hands and get them out on the course and teach them the game. A year before we were doing it before. So, we've been doing that. We really encourage our high school varsity coaches to meet with our middle school coaches and get them, binders and playbooks and just the things, techniques, and just the different things that they want to see throughout their program, right? So if you have, basketball specifically, hey, my sixth graders, I want them to learn how to jump stop, pivot, form shooting, and run like this one play, right? And then the rest is kind of like up to the middle school coach. And then, hey, seventh grade, they should have all of those things, but now I want them to run these two plays. They should also be a little more fine-tuned in their ball handling, their passing, hey, we want these presses implemented, whatever that looks like, and just kind of building your program all the way up, giving those coaches a structure of what you want them to do. And so we've been encouraging our high school varsity coaches to do that, make those connections with middle school coaches, sit them down, take them out to lunch, get them this information, and then, not just do it once at the beginning of the year, either in August or whenever that is, but follow up with them throughout their season. How can I help you? Because a lot of our middle school coaches, you can tell me what you think, but they're not necessarily always your most knowledgeable or your most experienced type coaches, right? So a lot of times they're volunteers, they're fresh in college. They just love the game. They love kids. They might be a parent, but they're not always really 100% sure what they're doing. They volunteered because we said that we need a coach, and so trying to get them the education that they need, both from myself, my assistant athletic director, but then also the coaches, right? Some of those strategies and structures that they want implemented, we think is really important. So that's what we've been trying to do a little bit here.
Yeah, we're the same. Like I said, I'm lucky. This year we were actually able to hire a pretty good coaching staff at the middle school that even when I was at a high school, I would probably want some of these people on my high school staff. But most of the time, like you said, it's a parent or it's a teacher. Sometimes it's just a warm body, just somebody that's breathing. They might not even know the sport. It's sometimes you just got to put some type of adult in there. But that's a whole nother struggle. That's a whole nother challenge with the middle school sports, is because you're better coaches, you're more experienced coaches are going to go to the high school. Now you may get lucky and get a coach that's been at the highest level or been at high school and has won, and they want to retire and just have an easier schedule, and they may come down and you may get a jewel in that every now and then, but most of the time, like I said, it's just a parent that's filling in or a teacher that's filling in. But when we do get the ones that know the game, that are experienced, we try to hold on to them as much as possible, but it's kind of hard because the high school will come in and take them, which is rightfully so. It's the more competitive area, but that's a whole nother thing. Like I said, it's the same down here. Sometimes it's just putting somebody there, and if you can't find it, that goes along with the AD's hours go from 40 to 80 because now I got to coach it. If I want my kids at the school to have this team and it's not to fold it, and I have the opportunity to, then I've got to step in and do it. I had to step in and be a cheer coach for a month because a couple of years ago, because the coach for personal reasons had to step down, and we were right in the middle of basketball season. I'm like, look, I'm glad this is just spirit cheer, not competition cheer. But I said, I can drive a bus. I can sit there and make sure y'all are practicing and doing the correct things and all that. But don't ask me for any techniques. But I'm here. So on my resume, I have down that I've cheerleading coach experience.
Yep.
But
I had to jump in one year, middle school basketball in Alaska. The coach got reconstructive knee surgery like 2 weeks before the season started, and oh man, it was a lot of unplanned hours, and trying to put it together, practice schedules, traveling, all those things. Yeah, it's tough, and that's another thing too, is with some of these coaches, when they are parents, they only follow their kids really, so they're not even sort of long-term answers either. They're maybe 2 to 3 years, and so we're trying to navigate that too. Is like how can we get more longevity in our middle school coaches? So if they are parents, that they don't just skip up to high school right after. If they do a good job and we like them, how can we really get them to stay here and coach this eighth grade team, or this whatever team, for as long as we can possibly get them to coach for. And so that's a big challenge in middle school sports as well.
yeah, I think that's a discussion. When I was hiring coaches this year, I mean, it was part of the interview. So, look, what is your plan? First of all, do you have a kid that's here? Luckily, we were hiring a baseball coach, and his kid's already gone through. But it was, we're looking for someone that's going to buy into this school. And we understand if the high school comes knocking, or if a better opportunity comes knocking, you got to do what's best for you. But like I said, if you're an outside person coming to coach for us, we want you to buy in, and we want you to bleed blue and black with us, and take it and run with it and make it your program. And we understand it may be a stepping stone to you to get to the varsity level one day. But while we got you, we want you to buy in, and for it not just to be a stepping stone. Because like I said, I'm one of those that I've coached at the middle school level as well as the varsity level, and there's just something about the middle school kids. We're kind of weird, the people that like to be around the middle school kids, but it's just that their passion for the game, to me, is a little better than the high school. Right, high school is the competition kind of gets in the way. The will to win and all that, which we still have the competition. We still want to win at the middle school, but it's more of the introducing them to the sport, and building on, like you said, some of the things that they need to know, the basics and things. But the kids, they love it. They love it down there. And we talked about last podcast about sometimes there's kids that are trying 3 or 4 sports in middle school before they figure out which sport they want and are good at, and then they specialize more at the high school level. So it's like I say, just getting the coaches there, that's a big deal. And sometimes if you can find a coach that coaches at the AUU team as well, then then there's a little bit of what we talked about earlier, is trying to make that marriage between the club and the school work. So kind of as we close, we talked about a little bit, but for middle school ADs are out there, or new ADs, even if it's at the high school, what do you think is the most important strength that a middle school AD needs, and or personality trait?
Man, it's probably got to be, obviously organization is up there. When you're trying to manage, whether that's 20 programs or 5 programs in one season, it's a lot of work, and you got a lot of things flying at you all the time. Super important to just be highly organized with your schedule, where teams are going, your transportation, what time the games are going to be, all those things. We've had things one year where my team was going one way on the highway, and the opposing school's team was coming the other way on the highway, and they were waving at each other as they go by. And you get a phone call like, "Hey, were we going there? Were they coming here?" And it's like, "Well, I had, you call the AD and things don't align, right?" So, organization is key. I think for ADs, probably one that I really try and hang my hat on too is just integrity and doing the right thing. If we don't have that, it's going to be really hard for your coaches or your athletes to want to listen to anything that you say, right? So I'm a firm believer that the team takes on the personality of the coach, and so the coaches or the athletic department will take on the personality of the athletic director. And so you gotta do the right thing. You gotta have integrity. You can't be showing favors to this program or that program. Scheduling extra games for one sport than the other. Giving them the nice bus or the better transportation hours or this or that. It's got to be equal across the field, and I'm a firm believer that that's all part of doing the right thing. I was a basketball guy growing up, but I've also participated in cross country, wrestling, track. So I feel like I got the real good sort of understanding and baseline of just how important each one of those sports is. But that's not the case for everyone. You got a lot of people that are one sport specific, maybe even a coach that got elevated to the athletic director position, and they're still coaching that sport. And you see a lot of favoritism and sort of, budget shading, to one program. And that's just not, what's best for the school. It's not what's best for the kids. And I don't believe that an athletic department can thrive if you don't have someone in that position that is going to take the high road, is going to try and hold coaches accountable, is going to do the tough things, is going to try and protect the integrity of the sport when the coaches or the players mess up on the field of competition, and we get together in our meetings, and we got to uphold the game and protect it and do what we think is right. Not even just for Denver Christian, right? But what is best for the state of Colorado in athletics, right? And so that's sort of my big umbrella kind of definition of do the right thing or integrity as an athletic director.
Yeah, that's good stuff. It goes back to that old saying, sometimes they don't care how many certificates, it's not what you know, it's how much you care. And, if they see it, again, hopefully they buy into it and they follow suit just like a team would. But that's good stuff. Well, I appreciate everyone listening today. Today we sat down with Dylan from Denver Christian School. Please join us next time. And Dylan, thanks for coming on and sharing your knowledge and wisdom with us.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, thank you.
This episode was sponsored by Gipper. Use the code MSAD10 for 10% off any Gipper plan at Gipper.com.